had a little bit of technical difficulty getting Melanie signed in with us, but we're glad to have you all participating. I can see we've got several of you with us. So let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to be talking about using the personalities in ministry. And we have with us Melanie Griffin. She is an international speaker and teacher, a marriage mentor, business owner, and certified life coach. Her passion for opening eyes to both the simplicity and the complexity of each personality is a major focus in all she does. Being a veteran homeschool mom, and now the grandmother and neighbor of the 4 little personalities all in one household, she has more personality stories than she'll be ever able to use. So Melanie, as we start today, would you share with us how you got involved in using the personalities in marriage ministry?
Well, I started originally because I was homeschooling.
Okay, I am not hearing you.
Oh dear. Okay. I don't.
Y'all tell me if you're hearing Melanie. We had a little technical difficulty, so we were late. I don't see. Okay, now that's mute. Melanie, look on the bottom of your screen and see if there's a little mute button.
There, I just got a thing that said that I'm muted, but I'm not seeing the mute button is the problem. Oh, you can't hear me.
Yeah, everybody's saying they can't hear Melanie, so we may need your husband. Maybe we should sign out and start again. But
oh no, that muted you.
Are you hearing me, Melanie?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay.
Okay, you can hear me, thanks, but we still can't hear you.
I'm looking for that mute button. Okay.
You sanguine women trying to figure this whole thing out.
Oh, I'm calling for tech help.
We were trying to sign on earlier. Usually sign on early. Pam Stevens said she can hear us both. Okay, maybe. I wonder if the problem's on my end. Yeah, the problem may be on my end, Melanie.
Oh, can anybody hear me? Can someone tell me if you can hear me?
Okay, I got you now. The problem was on my end. Sorry, everyone.
Okay, so you can hear Marita?
Yes, I can hear you now. The problem was on my end.
Okay. All right.
I'm getting feedback.
Are you?
So, all right, everyone. Sorry about that. We can proceed anyway. So, Melanie, shall we start again?
Okay.
Tell us, Melanie, how you got involved in marriage ministry.
Well, it was just a natural progression from, I started this when I was homeschooling. My 2 opposite personality children thought I was going to lose my mind. And a friend of mine gave me the book and I read it. And so then we just started applying it all through our family. And then when my husband and I started applying it, I was like, oh my, everybody needs this information. How do we get through life without this information? You know, that was just me. And so that's how I started. And then I was invited to come to a women's ministry, a women's seminar and speak. And this is what I spoke on. And afterwards they went, you can't do this just for women. You have to do this for our husbands too, because we're going to go home spouting off all this stuff and they're not going to know what we mean. And not long ago, I was with a couple and she was spouting all this off because she knew I was there and I was going to support her. And he was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So that's how I got into it. I just knew everyone needed to know it.
And you've now been using the personalities in a marriage ministry capacity now for how many years?
16. It's been 16 years since I walked into that room and you and your mother were sitting there looking at me. I'm like, oh, are you kidding? Y'all were great. Y'all were so sweet.
Well, we've got folks that have joined us from across the country, and they want to know the answers to the things we posted in our promotional material, which is, if someone wants to get their pastor to have this in their church, to have one of our folks, one of our certified personality trainers, teach this, what's the best way to approach a pastor about it?
Well, I have never had a pastor say no. In fact, I've kind of a couple of times I've gone in and I haven't even gotten finished, and they go, "Yes, we need it. We need it." I did present a proposal the first time I taught it, and I just used some scripture. I used Romans 12:18, where Paul says, "If it's up to you, as far as it's up to you, be at peace, live at peace with all people." And I'm like, okay, so it's up to us. It's up to us. We can't make other people. And so, and then I just kind of lay out what I'll be doing, and I particularly bring in the difference in this and every other program on the market is that I learned.
Can you tell us that? What are those differences? What are the differences you share with the pastor?
Oh, that this particular program tells us the emotional needs of the other people that we're talking to. In fact, I even go in if I'm talking to a sanguine pastor, which I'm usually not, but I talk about how much fun it's going to be. I mean, everybody's going to enjoy this. They're just going to love it. If I go into a melancholy, then I start spouting off my list. So it depends on the personality of your pastor.
Which of course everyone participating should already know that they need to take the personality of their pastor into consideration when they approach him.
Right. Exactly. And so basically, I tell him, you can do the DISC, you can do Myers-Briggs, you can do whatever. And I know a lot of people in our churches have done these for business reasons, but this is personal. This is where you fit in the church. This is where we should be looking for people who can do those spreadsheets, or look at those people who can lead those ministries. I said, this is going to reveal a lot to the church, to the pastor, marriages. I said, but we're starting with marriage, it's going to go out to everybody, every other part of life. And I said, marriage, my big thing is marriage was one of God's first institutions, and Satan is after it. And if he can tear down the marriage, he can tear down the very fiber of our churches, of our country, everything. And so that's one place that as a church we really need to focus in on, and nothing else that I know of focuses in on it like this.
Oh, great! That's real helpful information for people that want to be able to share this in their churches. So once you get the pastor to buy in, mm-hmm. What's the design of the program?
Usually, as far as I've done half-day seminars. That's pretty tough. Only someone who can talk fast can do that. I've done.
Okay, so half days, not long. I agree.
Yeah, I have done weekend seminars. I've done everything from 4-week classes to 13-week classes. What I have found is every church does things differently. They want you to come in and teach for that time slot. So
now let me ask you something real quick. Mm-hmm. When you say how many different churches have you done this for? Are they usually the church you attend, or do they sometimes ask you to come in from another church?
Both. Yeah. So I just kind of, work with them. If it's a different church, it's usually a seminar, more of a seminar type thing. Okay. And therefore it's not really pointed specifically toward marriage. So I did one where they took this was in Dallas, and Dallas had something going with this particular program. If you went through this program and got your certificate, you could go get your marriage license for free. You could show the certificate and wow. It combined the personalities with a lot of other premarital type stuff. And it was awesome, because now I can go to a pastor and I said, I've taught this when it has to do with finances, in-laws, communication, roles and responsibilities, sexual intimacy, everything. These personalities apply to everything within the marriage relationship. And they're like, oh. Are you still there, Marita? Have I lost you?
I'm back.
There you go. Okay.
Are we good? Yeah. Okay. All right. So when you've done this in your own church, is mostly when you've done the multi-week program, it's in your own church.
Yeah.
What do you do to get people to attend?
We advertised it on I was trying to think. One was a class. It was a young marrieds class, and they just asked us to come in. They asked. The other one, they do a big push at the beginning of each, like spring and fall, I guess. And they put out there what classes are available, and people sign up for the
classes.
So
is this usually like a Sunday school, or is it a small group, or both?
Both. I've done it. Way. Yeah, I've done it. I've done it a small group in home for church. So yeah, about everywhere I can think of.
Yeah, my church doesn't have Sunday school, but they have a big emphasis on small groups.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the longest I've ever done it was for 13 weeks, and that was pushing it, especially, and it was for the young marrieds class. So those melancholies and cholerics were having a rough time making it through 13 weeks. I mean, I had a ball.
Yeah, so 13 weeks you think is a little too long?
That's too long. Yeah.
So what's optimal from your experience?
My the favorite one that I ever did, that I thought I covered it great and everyone hung with me to the end, was 10 weeks. And we had a ball in that class. We the first class I did was mostly melancholies and phlegmatics. So I had to create a lot of my own energy. The second class was a lot of sanguines but anyway,
that's always more fun to have an audience like that for those of us who are the popular sanguine or the yellow.
Right. And then you get a choleric or two thrown in there, and you have to be on point and on your toes and ready to do business. So yeah, but 10 weeks was great.
So what are the kind of stories you've heard from the people who've been in your class?
One of the first ones I had was a guy who, well, it was a couple, a family. Let me keep broadening this out. A family, and she had already come to me and said, "We're having trouble. We're having trouble." And it was a couple that I would have never guessed. You know, he was a doctor, and she's just the happiest little person, and a stay-at-home mom with their kids, and so I said, "So do you want to share with me?" And she said, "Yes." She said, "We all, about an hour before he gets home, we just all start, the tenseness in our house just starts building. And she said, and then he's just,
I remember that from my childhood home.
Yeah, me too. And she said, it's just miserable. And I said, so, well, what seems to be the issue with that? And she said, well, they had 3 children. And she said, he's fine with the others, but with this one particular one, he's just on him constantly. And I said, what's he on him for? And he said, because he's supposed to be doing his homework, and he'll be up there for 20 minutes, and then he's running down to get a drink, and then he runs back up, and then he runs down to get a snack. And she said, my husband just goes berserk. He tells him to go sit down and don't get up again until he's finished with all of his homework. And so anyway, I said, okay, so let's, and so I was going to be doing it in home study. And so sure enough, we got around to where her husband could share that, and he shared it and how it drove him crazy. And, I just can't get this kid to, to do what he needs to do. And so I said, so yeah, what does he need to do? Tell me what he needs to do. And he goes, well, he needs to study. And I said, he's not studying. And he goes, no, he's studying. He just needs to buckle down. And I said, well, what kind of grades is he making? And he said, well, he makes A's. I just can't get him to buckle down. And so I've lost you, Marita, so I guess I'm still going. But anyway, the thing was this, let me turn that off. This was a doctor, very melancholy, choleric, and he wanted his kids to study his way. And so when I explained to him that this child could not sit still for 4 hours after school.
Melanie, we have a problem.
Okay.
We have a problem. I think we have no viewers. I'm looking at this on my phone, and it says it has expired. This live broadcast has expired.
Oh my. Okay.
So I think
it's my fault. It's my fault.
No, I mean, we're supposed to be I've got it from what I see. Is anyone with us? Is anyone watching? It says we have 9 people. But when I look at it on my phone, it says it's expired. So I'm looking to see if anyone says anything. I hate this technology. Well, I love the technology, but
I know. Yeah. I just need to be trained. I'm calling from my tech
someone
support
said,
now.
okay, all right, folks, I was totally wrong. I'm sorry. Uh,
Can you see someone?
we do have Facebook, someone who's chimed in here, so we do have an audience, and we are live then. And I am sorry, folks. We're
okay. It's okay.
So you're fine, Melanie.
Okay.
And what I do, Melanie, just so you know, when you think you've lost me, I pull myself out of the picture when you're talking.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's great.
When you think you've lost me, it's just because I'm giving you the whole floor.
Okay. I thought Marita and all of her friends have left me.
No, apparently we're all still here. So
good.
Thanks for that.
Okay, so anyway, we were able.
You're talking about the doctor.
Yes, we were able to let him know your son is making A's and he's getting all of his homework done. But it's okay for him to do it in his way. And the doctor was kind of like, oh, well, I thought he needed to settle down and be, buckle down and be focused. So and later his wife said, you cannot imagine the stress that has helped in our family. She said, it's just over. So that was really exciting for me. I had another guy.
In that case, that the son was sanguine.
Yes, just like his mom.
Why he didn't stay seated.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And so I compared that. I said.
Obviously, everyone participating today knows this material is very helpful for marriage, as all of us experience that ourselves. And what else do people need to know who want to take this material into their church? And y'all, if you have questions, please ask them on the screen or ask them on the feed.
My biggest thing, I think, like I said, there's so many personality things out there now. But the one thing that this hits on is, we have the 5 love languages. We have the his needs, her needs. We have all these books, and this is the only thing that I have found that has said, this is your personality. This is your husband's personality. These are his emotional needs. Okay, this is your personality. This is what you're going to have to, stretch in your personality to meet his emotional needs. It's just not like any other program that I've found.
And you think a big difference in that, or a big reason for that, is the emotional needs?
Oh, I do. Definitely. Yeah. My husband and I have talked about this so much, and it's funny because he's very melancholy and phlegmatic. And he was telling me we were having some issues with communication, and this has only been a couple of years ago. And he said, just think about this for a minute. Let me give you, and he's a big analogy person. Analogy. I'm story. He's analogy. So he said, let's say that I have spent hours fixing this broth that I'm going to serve you, and I'm thinking, broth doesn't take hours, and it's boring. But I didn't say anything, and so. He said, I put all these ingredients in it. And he said, and then I'm trying to pour you a bowl. Let me get my hands up here. And your bowl is doing this. It's everywhere. And I can't pour it in your bowl because you won't sit still and you won't listen and you won't, And he says, but I've labored on this and I've made it just perfect just for you. And I'm like, oh, okay. I said, well, honey, I think I would be more into that broth if it was like vegetable soup or something, if I could see some. So it was easy for him to see. He can't drone on and drone on and drone on and drone on and think I'm going to stay connected. And I need to know, and I need to know that he loves to tell me every single little detail. It's not flowery, it's not exciting, but it's every detail. And so if I can just hang on, Of course, I do have, my fault is that I've learned his voice inflections, and I know when to go, even if I'm not listening. So, yeah, that's, but anyway, it continues. Even we will celebrate our 41st anniversary in 2 months. And we've been doing this for 16 years, and it's unbelievable what it's done for us and how we understand each other and our kids and our grandkids.
So your example you just gave us with the broth was effective. What other kind of signature stories do you have that your audience goes, aha,
with? One of mine is, I'm a sanguine, and sanguines want to be happy. So if there's issues, I want the issue to be over with, and let's get back to happy. I have a very phlegmatic, melancholy daughter, and if there is an issue, she needs to go away and not speak to whoever the issue is with until she can think through it. And it's always okay. She always comes out because she wants everybody to be happy too. But she has to process. And so that's kind of a signature thing. And I do a lot with opposites because we're so different in how we process, but we're so perfect when we know how to come together and complement each other's personalities. Now, I have a son who married his own personality. They're both sanguines. Lord help them. They'll never be out of debt. They'll never have friends because
it's funny you say that, because I'm wired that way. That's one of the key things I say about the two sanguines married together. And so you so seldom see that. So I go on with their marriage, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, and we're so thankful we so seldom see that. Well, they're just, they call and they're going out to supper because it's just been a rough week. And I'm like, have you paid your bills yet? And no, but we haven't, we usually go to Taco Bell. We're going to a nice restaurant tonight because it's just been a
really hard week.
And it's only going to get harder if we don't pay our bills. And they both talk a lot, and so they don't have a whole lot of friends because their friends don't ever get seen much. But but they're fun. They're fun.
So really, they don't have a lot of friends. I would think sanguine couple would have a lot of friends because they're so fun.
Yes, and unless they live together and they're bouncing off of each other all the time and vying for attention. Sanguines, even if they're married, they're vying for everybody's attention. And so it's different. And I told my children, don't marry your same personality. It doesn't matter. A prophet's never welcome in his own hometown. So.
True. That is true.
Oh, but so if you get discouraged with your children, that's it. Even Jesus was rejected by those closest to him. But I'm right now working on it, which is so neat that you came through with the, the personalities during the COVID quarantine, because I'm just getting ready to kick off just a short little thing for those who have found themselves like my daughter with 6 children in the house. She's a phlegmatic and she needs to homeschool all of them. One of them special needs. And she's in total exhaustion, frustration, trying to keep up with 6 different. Yeah. So I'm getting ready to throw something out real quick to those who, want to do something with that. And that sheet that you came up with was perfect. And the neat thing about that is one thing that I like to do is that I want to validate you. Okay. Your husband may fuss at you about this, and your parents may have always told you to sit down and shut up, or, that you're too picky or what. I want to validate you. God created you that way. And that's the way you're supposed to be, because he has a plan for you. So I like to, and that the COVID sheet that you did, I want to validate to people, it's okay. Yes, your personality would react this way, and it's okay. So, you can work on it, obviously, but don't think I'm such a bad person because I can't be like him or can't be like her. Yeah. So that's another great thing about the personalities is validating the worth and the worthiness of each personality.
Yeah, that was, I know, for my mother and my father was a big issue. That my mother, the reason that this material was eye-opening to her 50 plus years ago was that they were different personalities. And so my mother felt like she was wrong. My melancholy, choleric father had made her feel that who she was wrong because clearly he was right. Because, he's
Yeah.
got all these things and she's the one who's late and she's the one who can't remember. And so clearly he's right and she's wrong.
Yeah.
And it was really eye opening for her to understand the personalities and that who she was the way God made her. And that was
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I have that same combination of personalities in my household, except my mom was the melancholy choleric. My dad was a sanguine choleric. And so, it was the same thing. I can't believe he didn't have multiple affairs, just not wanting to come home because everything he did was going to be wrong. But that reminds me too of, we're talking about same personalities marrying. We had friends when we lived back in North Carolina. They were both choleric, and they had a child who was choleric. They ended up divorcing and fighting over who had to take the child. That's
Who
a
had
tough
to
situation.
take the child?
Yeah. Yes. They did. They wanted to make sure neither one of them had less or more than 50% of the time. No. I mean, they share custody,
Wow.
but it was very, I'm not taking him more than 50% of the time. So
Wow.
it's hard.
A Facebook user here says, let me find it so I can figure out what I'm doing. Says any combination can work if you know this stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why this saves marriage.
It's like I like to say, any combination can work, or any relationship can work, but every relationship takes work.
Oh,
on our own, we're not naturally just going to make it work.
Yes. Right. I remember, I'm pretty sure it was your mom that said, when you're wondering which is the right personality to marry,
Yes.
none.
Yeah, don't get married at all.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm looking at some of the comments that people have added here, and someone's asking, how do we get the sheets that I did? So I'm not sure what you're referring to for our user, but if you mean the COVID chart that we put together, it's on the Certified Personality Trainer Facebook page. It's on my mother's Facebook page. It's on mine. It's not anything we're selling. It's just information that is out there. So if you can just pull it off of the Facebook page, download it, print it out, share it, however you want. But last time I looked, that COVID chart from my mother's Facebook page had more than 1.5K shares.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a few days ago, so it's probably had more. It's pretty amazing. Let me also, while I've got some of you interacting here, I'm thinking about, most of you know I'm working on the website, and we're going to have a new website within a few weeks, and we'll have the personality profile available online through that website. And my plan is it's going to be the same price as the paper copy, which is $4 per profile, and you'll have it instantly, and there won't be any shipping. As the website develops, this will not be our first tranche. I'm thinking about making my mother's classic presentations available as a download or a podcast, however someone wants them. I'm thinking about kind of a legacy thing. I'm not sure what the term would be, but just putting them out there and making them all available for free. What do y'all think? What do you think, Melanie? You've got the microphone.
I think that would be amazing. That'd be very charitable of you. Yeah, that would be great.
Well, I think we could, this whole website design thing is kind of turning into something much bigger than I anticipated.
God
kind
has
of
a way of
turning
doing
into
that.
a relaunch of the brand. And so I thought if we make this available, my mom's classic presentations, that we might be able to get a whole new generation engaged.
I didn't hear the last couple of words.
I said we might be able to get an entire new generation engaged.
Oh, right, exactly. Yes, yes. This definitely needs to.
Someone here is awesome. So I'll see what we can do on that. Okay, y'all, since I've kind of figured out the technology here today. Any final questions for Melanie on using the personalities in marriage? Anyone type in a question? No, we don't see any else. I don't see any else here. Okay. So Melanie, anything else you think is important for everybody know? Give everybody some encouragement to teach this material in a marriage setting.
I'm having a real hard time hearing you, but I heard you say something about give everybody encouragement to do this.
Yeah, to teach this in a marriage setting.
Yes, I do encourage you to do this. Like I said a while ago, my passion is marriage because I know that's also Satan's passion. And so this is, again, a program, the only program that I know of that teaches us how to look at another person and recognize that personality without having to, give them the personality profile to begin with, and to know probably what their emotional needs are. And now, one thing, Marita, I'm finding more and more that I didn't used to find a lot was masking. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of masking that goes on now. There's been a lot of trauma in people's lives, and so anyway, but anyway, that's
I'm glad you brought that up, Melanie. The masking, we haven't addressed that topic at all in any of these training sessions, these online training sessions we've done. Can you, to all of you that are watching, understand what Melanie's talking about when she says masking? I mean, it's in all our books, and certainly if you're certified, for those who are certified, you know that. But we have some people watching who aren't necessarily, they're just joining in.
Okay.
Can you tell us how you see that?
Yeah. Well, let me give you. Well, I'll give you my experience with that. Is Marita and I were just talking about. We were raised in households with very strong personalities, mother and father. I was a strong personality. I was a loud personality. I was, and they could not. They were having a hard enough time with their relationship. They didn't need me. It's in the way. I was too noisy. So I shrunk down into a phlegmatic, and you don't, God wires us this way because this is the way we're going to find our fullness in Him and the full joy of an abundant life. And I always knew something was missing. That just wasn't me. It kept me from going in the educational field that I knew I was supposed to go into. And it just changed my life. And then I met my husband, who validated all of that in me. I would let that sanguine slip out and he just grabbed onto it. He loved it. And so I'd let more slip out and more slip out until I realized I can live in my sanguine. He loves it. And then I could start being me and who I really am.
So that's interesting that your husband helped you.
Yeah. Because he liked that part of me where my parents couldn't handle it. We've also had another case where our daughter was in her first marriage was to a narcissist, and she was everywhere but where she really was, just trying to fix it. She was trying to fix everything. And that was really sad. I'm dealing with a girl right now, coaching a girl right now that's been victim of narcissism all her life. Mm-hmm.
How did you, as the mother, obviously you saw this in your daughter's husband before they got married. How did you deal with that?
Yes, I did.
Obviously not successfully, I guess.
I told her
they got married.
No, I told her. Well, now remember, she's a phlegmatic. Phlegmatics have a will of iron. You are not going to change them. And she also had melancholy in her. So she was like, I'm never wrong. I know this. I'm not wrong. I'm not changing. And so no matter what I pointed out to her, it just made her angry, just angry. She would just get angry. And then as a a phlegmatic, she would pull away. And I couldn't say anything to her. So, I said what I needed to say, and I tell her now, not now, but after she came out of it and she realized what was going on and had been going on for 9 years. And I said, sweetheart, I should have said more. I should have not given up on that. And she goes, no, Mom, no, you would have just pushed me further and further away. It would not have worked.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, there's just so
there
much
really wasn't much as a parent you could have done.
No, not with that. I don't know. Now I did something similar to that, and my parents came in full force. They were both the strong cholerics, and I left home and everything. But I did finally end up coming back because I finally saw it, and I came back to them, got out of the relationship. But anyway, just is masking everywhere. I have a dear friend of mine who the first time she took this, she said, oh, I'm your same personality. And I'm like, yeah. And once you've done this so long, Marita, I know you can just be with someone, and after a while you're like, this is not adding up. You can just tell it. So she said, I'm sanguine too. Well, the thing is, she throws lots of parties because her husband is choleric and he loves throwing parties. And so she's always there throwing parties with him, complaining about everything. She's melancholy, complaining about everything, but she's there throwing the party. And then before the party's over, she is in a corner somewhere, totally exhausted. And then she doesn't come back out in public for 2 or 3 days because she's just recuperating. And I'm like, if that had been my party, people would have left and I could have cleaned the house. I'd have had so much energy, but it just wiped her out. So that's one thing I tell people when they're taking the profile is if you're struggling with 1 or 2 words that you're not sure which one is you, think number 1, back to the happiest time of your life. And how would that have applied then? And number 2, would this particular word give you energy or would it leave you tired? I mean, you might enjoy it, but would it leave you tired or would you have even more energy afterwards? So that's how I help people because that's, the way I've understood it and seen a lot of other people understand it. So, yeah.
Okay, got it. We've got a question. This Facebook user says, we talk about elevator speech. If someone said, what do you do? In a nutshell, what great statement would you use that will go, and I got to read the rest of it over here, to the heart of the listener. Facebook user says, I'm always digging around this. I only have a few seconds, so it needs
to be. Okay. I missed the end of that, but I've got it up here, the first part of it. And well, I kind of assess, number 1, their age. If I have a grandma in there, I'll say something like, have you ever wondered what's going through your grandkids' heads? Why they act the way they do? That's what I do. I give people tools to know what's going on with those grandkids and what those grandkids need from us as grandparents. If I'm talking to a college kid, let's see, I'll tell you one that I did not too long ago. Well, it's before the social distancing. I was at Macy's or somewhere, and I was in an elevator, literally at an elevator. And I was just I guess I was perky and peppy or whatever. And she said, what do you do? And she was about my age. I could tell she was an employee there. And I said, well, have you ever wondered what the perfect job would be that you would just really love doing and what position you would love to have? And she said, well, yeah. And I said, I give people tools to figure that exact thing out. And she's like, really? And so I handed her my card. So that's why I always ask them a question. Have you ever? And then that, and it's a question that they're going to say, sure, of course. They're going to say yes. And then that's what I do. So if you can start with that question, and if you get, a personality that says, no, I've never wondered that. And I said, well, you don't want to know what I do. So there's a thing in coaching about, you want to attract those people you want to work with. and you want to detract the people that you don't want to work with. So by
yeah, that's interesting because I'm working on the website, as I've mentioned. And I have a Jewish friend that I was visiting yesterday, and I was having her look at the text and the design of the new website to get her opinion. And in my mother's bio for the website, which is down a ways, but I have it that she's known for helping with life skills, relationship issues, and biblical truths or something. I don't remember offhand. She was really troubled that I had biblical truths in there. And she said, well, is your program totally Christian? And I explained, well, no, I call it Christian light, meaning if you're offended by in God we trust on our money, you're going to be offended by the program because it does have kind of an overlay of Christianity, but it's not overt. And so I said, I'm leaving that word in there because if that word bothers someone on the website, if they're troubled by that, they need to not come here. So Allison Mooney from New Zealand is with us. And if I can figure out how to get this up here again, there we go. Oh, no, that's not the one I want. This is Allison. Here she is. Allison, you can see, we got to figure out how to get picture a name up here on these comments. I only just learned this feature today. I just learned that I can put this up. But Allison in New Zealand says, I use the tagline Marita and her mom came up with. I help people understand others by understanding themselves.
I think that's really good. I think it was probably better when our precious Florence was in her, younger than even us. One thing that I have found now in my coaching is that people don't want to think they have a problem. You don't need to fix me. I need for you to fix my husband, or I need for you to fix. And so, yeah. And so, I mean, that I'm sure that still works. But that's just not what I use because I don't want to start with their problem. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, you guys, this has been a great session. I appreciate Melanie Griffin. Appreciate you taking your time to be with us. And all of you, thanks for joining us, even though we have some technical difficulties. Love to see your comments if you feel these sessions have been helpful. For those of you who have chimed in for the first time to join us, please go back through on the Facebook page. There's a click. You can click on videos and you'll see the previous trainings that we have done before. Melanie, any closing comments?
Oh, I just say go out and do it. If God has put you in this program, he has a plan for you to share it. It may be scary. You may not feel like you're quite qualified. Just go do it. He'll give you an Aaron if you need it, but go be a Moses with this program. It's awesome. It saves lives. It saves marriages. It saves children. It's just amazing. It's my passion. If you can't tell.
We can see that, and I'm so glad that you have shared your passions with us, Melanie. Thanks for your time today. One more thing.
Yes.
You have a website people that want to know more about you can go to?
Oh, that's awesome. I don't have a website. I'm just now getting up a new Facebook page for kind of this, my coaching. I've done my coaching just by word of mouth, and it's about all I can handle. But I don't have a website just because I haven't gotten there where I want to handle it yet. And I haven't. If someone comes up to me and says,
"Can I help you with a website?" It's a lot of work.
Yes. I did it for another ministry we were with, and I found out that it's not my gift.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, Facebook, the great thing about Facebook is it makes it so easy. Yeah, and this technology that we can do this together, even though we've got glitches and I'm not fabulous at it, it's real helpful, I think.
Yeah. If anybody wants to just message, I was going to say, if anybody wants to message me, you can message me through the Facebook that we're all friends on. So that'll be fine. Yeah, Marita's actually, she's put me together with other people before. So yeah, I'm all for sharing.
Good. Thank you for your time. Y'all have a great day, and be sure to check out our previous recordings. We recorded this live on Wednesday, April 29th. So for those of you who are watching later, you'll know it's not live. Thanks much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. God bless.